Hello, everyone, and thanks so much for joining us today. I think you're in for a wonderful treat, and I'm so confident that you will really know what you need to know about children and money following this wonderful presentation by Lori Hendrickson and Shawna Thompson from the University of Minnesota Extension. We here at the center, and I know all of you in our wonderful, broad community are going to share in our enthusiasm and appreciation for their willingness to take the time to join us today and to make this wonderful presentation. And I will let Lori and Shawna introduce themselves once we get going here. So what you need to know about children and money. I can say this much. This is something that a lot of people were very interested in because we had such an enthusiastic reaction and registration for this webinar. So let's get going. So, okay, we wanted to start today with a poll and see who exactly is in our audience. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to launch this poll, and you can tell us which category you fall in. I believe you may be able to also pick more than one, but if you'd like to share with us, we have a lot of other people here. Go ahead and put it in the either the chat box or the question box.
Excuse
Go
me,
ahead.
Rita, you
Yeah.
probably want to have therapist include social worker.
Oh,
I don't know if you want social worker to be, part of the other.
okay. Okay. Here are some. Oh, this is wonderful. Here are some of the ones that we're getting. Um, okay. You can. Someone just asked, "Where's the chat box?" Go ahead and put it right here in the question box. Wow. Okay. So a lot of you let me know that um, you could see and hear it. Thank you so much for letting me know. And it's hard to tell from our end. Okay, so we have a school counselor. Uh, I love our audience. You guys are so wonderful. We have a financial counselor, a social worker, a school psychologist, financial educator, counselor, and parents, and certainly a CFP. Great. Social worker, parent, social worker for welfare agency, asset development coordinator. Great. Oh, domestic violence shelter. Oh, we have a great audience. Okay, so then I guess I will close that poll as soon as I find it and take a look. I'll share with you. Um, I'll close it and I'll share it so you can see um, the majority of our audience are financial educator counselors. We have a nice percentage of therapists, school teachers, and the school teachers will be able to do some wonderful things after this presentation, I promise you. And I shared with you some of the other 22%. Okay, let's get going. We have a lot to cover. Thanks, everybody, for sharing with us. So before I turn this over to our guest speakers, I'd like to say a little bit on financial social work because we know that with the kind of response we got to this webinar, we're going to have attendees who are new to financial social work, and I'd like to explain who we are and why we sponsor a free educational webinar most months of the year. So we are the Center for Financial Social Work, and we know that financial problems are about more than money. Actually, they're about much more than money. And it's all about how our clients, the relationship our clients have with their money and with themselves. very much self-motivated. So it's that relationship that drives how clients behave financially. So financial social work is a behavioral model, and it's how we behave with our money, how we earn it, spend it, save it, and share it, that determines our financial circumstances. It's as simple as that, and definitely as complicated as that. And so you see, this is where financial behavioral change happens. So dollars and cents don't make financial choices. We each have an inner money self, and my work more and more leads me to explore that component with clients and with our students and our graduates. Whoa. Okay, I'm going in the wrong direction is the problem here. Okay, so financial circumstances originate from within our money self. So our money self includes, as I just suggested, our thoughts, feelings, and actions with our money and with ourselves. So it isn't really the money that's our problem. It's our relationship with our money. Definitely something to think about, and definitely an excellent way to engage clients on the journey to financial well-being. Again, I'm going in the wrong direction. Okay, so we are all about financial behavioral change because financial well-being requires a healthier money self. And someone with a healthier money self engages more readily, is much more hopeful, is more eager to change, and more prepared to succeed. If you think about it, you'll be able to recognize how that relates to the clients we work with. So financial well-being requires a healthier money self, and the way that financial social work adapts to that, and the way that our model addresses it, is by incorporating self-discovery, working towards a new and different mindset. We incorporate self-reflection, self-acceptance. There's a strong component of hope and positivity, forgiveness and boundaries. All of these are a very significant part of creating a healthier money self that contributes to a better financial future. And those of you who join us on a more regular basis know that this is my favorite graphic because it shows someone at peace with her money. And that's what we want to help clients become, at peace with their money. Not view money as the enemy, but view money as a friend. Make friends with your money. So a brief overview of the model is that it incorporates ongoing education, motivation, validation, and support. It is incredibly interactive, introspective, and strength-based, and succeeds individually and or with groups, and is used by financial therapists across the country. So poll number 2, and then we are getting into our presentation. Let's do poll number 2. And poll number 2. Okay, I am launching it. And when we finish, I'm turning it over to our speakers. Okay, well, I must say, I have the advantage in getting to see how people are voting, but everybody here, you're at the right place. This is what you're going to learn today. Okay, so almost 70% of you have voted. So I will give you a few more seconds. I will count it down if you want to be part of this. 5, 4, 3, to, we're at 79%. Come on. Okay, we're at 80%. I'll go ahead and close it out. Thanks everybody for participating. And you can see the results. Lori and Shawna, can you see the results?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I can't tell from my screen. So when I used to start talking or teaching about money, and all of these things, maybe not totally the allowance piece, but I'm sure you can, incorporate that into that presentation. But certainly most of you would like to know all of this. And that gives me the great and exciting and happy opportunity for me to close this poll and go ahead and turn this over to our speakers. Change presenter. Okay, so Lori, I'm giving this to you.
Okay.
Okay, here we go.
All right. Can everyone see my slides?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. There we should go.
There you go.
All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Lori Hendrickson. I'm an extension educator with the University of Minnesota Extension. I'm officed in the Grand Rapids Regional Office, hometown of Judy Garland. So if you have ever heard of Grand Rapids, Minnesota, that's probably what you've heard of. I also do programming not only in the northern area of Minnesota, but across the state of Minnesota. And I've been involved in youth and money programming for many years. I also serve as a state representative for the National Endowment for Financial Education and their high school financial planning program. So I'm involved with teacher trainings related to youth and money issues and have been for a number of years. At this time, I'd like to invite my colleague Shawna Thompson to introduce herself and to get us started today.
Thank you, Lori. Welcome, everybody. Happy afternoon. My name is Shawna Thompson, and I am a financial capability educator with the University of Minnesota Extension. I office out of Carver and Scott counties, which are southern to our kind of best-known city, Minneapolis. And I've been teaching about money and coaching folks as it relates to money for about 12 years. And so I'm really happy to be here today. We're here today to talk to you about what children need to know about money. So if we can move to our objectives, we can talk a little bit about what we hope that you'll get to see today. So we hope that at the end of the webinar that you'll be able to explain the importance of teaching financial literacy to children. We hope that you'll be able to identify some key financial concepts that are appropriate to teach children. We're going to introduce you to some free and low-cost curricula that can help you share money topics with children and families. And so by way of that, we hope that you'll be able to compare and contrast the curricula that we present that uses children's literature to teach the concepts. We hope that you'll become familiar with some resources to promote reading and positive money management skills. And then lastly, we hope that you'll be able to identify some action steps that you can use with the materials. So why is financial literacy or education or capability, there's lots of different terms these days, why is it important? I think the main thing is that money management is a skill that we're using every single day, and it's something that we're using to meet the basic needs of all of our lives. It is a skill that impacts the ability to fulfill dreams, for us to reach our goals, to achieve a secure financial future, and so that means, now all the way through up until retirement. We know that getting children this information as early as possible means that children will become more comfortable with the skills, and once they have the opportunities to practice them, they'll be able to do that in a much safer way. Next slide. So economic insecurity. So many of us might be working with clients that are in the low-income community. We know that economic insecurity affects children. So children that are born into poverty are more likely to be poor as adults. And children who are brought up in families that have a volatile financial circumstance are also more likely to experience negative effects financially than children who are in economically secure families. And so when we talk about using children's books to teach personal finance, we really have to think about who's usually reading to children, and that's really the whole family paradigm. It's going to be parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, maybe others that are close that are taking care of the children. So family members who are reading the books to children can also learn and reinforce all of the learnings that are happening there. So the ways that economic insecurity affects children. So we talked about a little bit how families in that kind of volatile financial circumstance, they might be families that are having to worry more about having enough money to meet their basic needs. And that would be things like food, health care, housing, child care, transportation, all of those things. And so when you're having to worry about those things, it might mean that there's a difficult time providing a safe and calm environment for the children in the home. And in turn, that parents may take on some stress as it relates to the ability to attend to their children. And low-income children are more likely to be exposed to parental depression and other adversities that might include substance abuse and domestic violence. So these are all things that can kind of contribute to the situation that children are growing up in. So when we look at positive family environments, the scenario is a little bit different. A stable and secure relationship between infants and parents or other caregivers is key to the positive development of that child. And secure parent and child relationships early in life are key for brain development and setting the foundation for later learning and development of that child. And so we know that when relationships with primary caregivers are nurturing, stimulating, and stable, that young children can really, really thrive. So taking a positive approach, how do we teach financial literacy by reading? When parents and children read together, there's a number of things that kind of can happen. First, they're going to develop skills together for stretching the scarce resources that they might have. They're going to learn and practice those concepts together. So it's not just one-sided, it's both parents and children learning together. They're also, both parents and children will learn how to use financial resources wisely. And parents do report an increased ability to manage financial resources when they've focused on teaching to their children. It provides a shared experience and context for them to discuss topics further. So when and how, many of you kind of indicated this on the poll in the beginning of the webinar. During the early formative years of a child is when life habits and skills are first starting to develop. So reading to young children stories about financial concepts and discussing money matters as early as possible can really help children learn about money and can help them become responsible money managers. If you think about your favorite book that you had as a child, you probably still remember some of the words or some of the relationships that went along with that story. And so reading to children can really underscore the learnings because they'll remember the stories that go along with it. So this is a slide that just gives a few examples of some books that are great money topic books. We're actually going to provide a book list to share with you at the end of the webinar. This is just a small sampling of the books that are on that list. There's many others on the list, and they kind of go through all of the different concepts that are taught in these books. So some of the benefits of reading aloud with children. The first thing is that it can really build vocabulary and listening skills in the child. It's going to help children become interested in books and perhaps give them a little bit of motivation to read on their own. It introduces a variety of topics, and it expands the knowledge of both, I think, parents and children together. So leading right into this next bullet about providing a shared experience and a different context to explore issues with. And the last thing is that it's fun. It's fun for parents to read. Sometimes you can get into character within the books, and children really enjoy that. So it's a fun way to learn a more kind of nuts and bolts type of task with money. This is an example of an experiential learning model that was developed by Jay Dietrich in the Center for 4-H Youth Development at the University of Minnesota. This was created back in 2001. And if we look at the activity of reading to a child, we can kind of move through the different bubbles in this learning model. The first bubble there talks about the experience, and so that would be the actual act of sitting down and reading to the child and having that experience. The second bubble there talks about sharing the results and any learnings that might have come from the reading in a public way. And so, after you've had that experience, you might sit down and talk to your child about what was learned. Then, in the third bubble, we can kind of take a step back and do a little processing. Maybe we talk about what was learned, we look at the experience, we might analyze the learnings and take a little bit of time to really reflect on what was learned, so that in the fourth bubble, we can really connect those learnings to the experiences that we're having in the real world. And that moves us directly into the fifth part there, where we're literally applying what was learned. And so this model kind of gives us a good way to think about how children and parents move through the different bubbles to get the children to apply what they've learned in their own lives at the appropriate time. Okay, well, I'm going to turn it over to Lori, and she's going to talk to you all about some key financial management concepts.
Thanks, Shawna. Well, right now we'd like to take a look at key financial concepts and to be thinking about these as we go into the curricula that we'll review. So I'd like you to take just a minute and think about what the key financial management concepts are that you believe children should be learning. And if you could type those in the chat area, we'll just take a moment and give you a time to think about it and also to put your answers in the chat.
Everyone, you should all be able to see the chat box in the rectangle in the upper right-hand corner of the screen. And it actually says chat.
And I'm seeing saving, spending wisely, needs and wants, budgeting. Okay, delayed gratification, yeah, that's certainly one. Saving, spending, budgeting, okay, we're seeing a lot of the same. Self-control, okay, kind of goes with that delayed gratification. Checking and saving accounts. How marketing targets kids. We actually have a program that is targeted food marketing on children, and so that's something I'm not involved in and Shawna isn't involved in, but colleagues of ours are involved in. I see savings, spending, giving. Great, lots of good answers there. And yeah, we will see some differences in how the various curricula address these, but you will see earning, spending, saving, sharing, borrowing. In the economic particular curricula, you will see more economic terms, and so you might see some things listed a little bit differently, such as use of resources or opportunity costs. Lots of good answers still coming in. That's great. Thank you so much for sharing those in the chat area. Let's see. All right. So then we'd like to move into the stages, developmental stages of children and dealing with money issues. We work with Dr. Sharon Danis at the University of Minnesota Extension, and in one of her publications, she reinforces information that we are going to look at here with children in money developmental stages. So as we look at preschoolers, we see that they can understand the idea of saving when they can see and touch the amount. So, counting money as you save it might be a way to do that. They understand that money is a way to get things that they want. I think they get that very early on. They see all money as having the same value, but they think that coins may have more value. So that's probably because it takes more coins to equal a bill, for example. They understand the concept of borrowing and returning items. And so as we talk about using children's literature, a good way to model this borrowing and returning items is the use of library books. They know that everyone in a family must do unpaid routine family tasks, and they need opportunities to make limited choices, perhaps choosing among up to 3 items in a grocery store. Maybe they like to choose the cereal that is being purchased, and so that helps with their decision-making skills. They understand what is theirs and what belongs to others, and they imitate much of what adults do. So again, it really reinforces the importance of modeling to children. They don't really differentiate between reality and fantasy, so commercials are often seen as shows on television. And they don't see things from the viewpoint of another person. Moving on then to early elementary ages, Danis indicates that these young children know what money is, but may not correctly name coins and bills. Once again, they're imitating parents' spending habits. They may not understand that they may not understand that they have to pay for things at the store, and that has led to many an embarrassing moment for parents as they exit stores. They need to get information about money in a concrete way. Once again, that's seeing and touching money. And they can save for something they want if the time is short and the item is specific. And so if you happen to be saving for something, a picture associated with that item and the savings might help for them to understand what they're saving for. They may not understand that cash and credit are both forms of money, or a debit card for that matter. And they don't understand the relationship between cost and how much they actually have to spend. They cannot be expected to say no to spending impulses, and they may discuss money in a way that makes you think that they understand more than they actually do. They're very sophisticated in how they can talk about money. Looking at the middle elementary ages, children are looking for peer approval, and so they may be spending to reinforce their status. They show more interest in having money. They're capable of long-term, perhaps 1 year or next summer, planning for something to spend or save. Maybe it's a summer camp for next summer. They understand, to some extent, how much money will buy. And they often try to figure out ways of earning money. That always makes me think of a lemonade stand and children wanting to earn some money through a lemonade stand. They understand the difference between needs and wants, And they understand that money is limited. And this is where explaining that sometimes we have to plan our spending so that we get the things that we need and can afford some of the things that we want. We can help them to understand that a little bit better. They need guidance to understand the value of things. And they want to make sure that they are treated the same as their siblings, that there's fairness. They can also begin to use math skills to keep track of their expenses. And they need to feel an important part of the family and know that their opinion counts. So discussing and including children in decision making is important. Then we get into the teen years. In the early teen years, they want to make earning and spending decisions without consulting their parents. They may be dissatisfied with the household income and what it provides related to their interests. They may request to use their parents' credit cards if they see peers doing that. And they begin to understand and earn and save towards long-term goals. They understand that planning allows a family to set financial goals and work together to reach them. And so we can help them set goals and plan how they will reach them. They're beginning to understand abstract concepts. So talking about compound interest and understanding how that can work towards increasing the money that you have saved. Also, they understand trade-offs and consequences of money management decisions, but they still need some help in establishing limits, and they're always testing values with others. And at this point, they can see things from another person's viewpoint. Then those middle to late teen years. At this point, they're desiring independence, but they're still financially dependent for the most part on family. They may make impossible financial demands, often because of insecurities, but parents may not be able to fill those demands due to the financial situation. They're often involved in costly school and social activities, and this always makes me think of prom and the costs associated with proms. Peers often have more influence with parents, and they need to have money to manage. This makes me think of something that my mother did with me when I was a teenager and gave me a certain amount of money monthly, and I had to buy the things I needed. If I needed contact solution, if I wanted to use the car and have gas for the car, that needed to come out of the money that I was budgeted, and I had to figure out how to do it. So it's a good time to help them to learn, and it's a safe way of providing a situation where they can make decisions, and if they mess up, they're still within the family, and they can get some help with their family. They often continue to need help in distinguishing those wants and needs when they're making their purchasing decisions, and they can understand that they can substitute other resources such as time and energy for money resources. They also understand the difference between gross and net income and the importance of employment benefits, but they may not quite understand the extent of deductions from a paycheck. So that's a lot of information, a lot to absorb, but that gives us the background to then think about the curricula that we're going to take a look at. So the curricula that we are going to look at today, just a few of them for you, but I think it gives a nice assortment of how you might be able to use books and some financial activities around them. Money on the Bookshelf, Reading Makes Sense, Teaching Economics Using Children's Literature, and Right on the Money. So we'll get right into those. Money on the Bookshelf, a family financial literacy program, is from the University of Nevada Cooperative Extension. That was updated in 2009. This is a free downloadable curriculum. It's for parents with children ages 4 to 10, and you see there the concepts that are involved in this curriculum. This has been good for homeschool parents that I'm aware of as well. I've had several come to me and say that they've been able to utilize it in teaching their children. It's designed to create interest in money and its use and encourage parents and children to have positive conversations about money, provide access to financial literacy materials, and encourage family money management. And later we'll take a look at one of my favorite books that is used in this curriculum. In Reading Makes Sense, each lesson begins with reading a book aloud, followed by a brief talk about the concepts, and later there's an activity based on the concepts. This is from the National 4-H Council and Penn State University. And National 4-H Council has very good curricula available on a variety of subjects. There are other financial and consumer books available. Just a couple are Financial Champions and Consumer Savvy. And in general, the curricula provided by the National 4-H Council has been matched to national curriculum standards for whatever the particular content is. And because 4-H includes youth from ages 8 to 19, you'll find that there is something that fits just about every age group. Reading Makes Sense. Originally I had seen the price at $17. I checked on it again, and there is a digital download available for $9.99. Teaching Economics Using Children's Literature, and this is available from the Indiana Department of Education and the National Council for Economic Education. This was revised in 2006, and you see that it is for elementary grades K through 5. And there are 24 lessons in this particular book. There are other editions that provide more lessons. And so there you see the economic concepts listed as well. This curriculum looks at using literature as a motivational teaching technique, and students realize that economics is a very real and interesting part of the world around them, and using literature allows teachers to teach reading and economics at the same time. And this one is available for $24.95, and we'll have the websites and the contact information to get these available. These lessons are correlated to the National Economic Standards, and one example of a book used here is The Giving Tree. And for this book, the economic concepts would include natural resources, scarcity, economic wants and needs, and price. And one example of an activity that's listed with this book includes making an apple pie and then talking about the benefits that that apple pie would provide. Sounds pretty good. Right on the Money, Talking Dollars and Cents with Parents and Kids is another one from Penn State University. It's from 2008. And this is for children ages 5 through 7 and their parents and guardians. And you'll see there that there are concepts for both parents and children. This curriculum is a 4-session program, and it uses reading to introduce children to financial concepts and provides parents with tools to reinforce their own financial knowledge in addition to positively influencing their children's future financial skills. Now, the curriculum is done in what I refer to as an early childhood family education model. It requires 2 facilitators to implement, and the sessions are typically 90 minutes. The sessions are split into 30 minutes that is family time, so the parent and child together, and then 60 minutes with separate lessons for children and parents. So right now we would like to share a sample lesson, A Chair for My Mother. I'm going to try to do this. We have an audio to go along with this. I need to try to move the panel so I can actually hit the audio recording for this. I'm hoping I can get the audio to come up. Nope, that didn't work. All right, here we go.
Lori, is that audio working?
I mean, if it doesn't work, perhaps you could take us to the website, like on your screen.
Okay, can I see someone in the chat box indicating that it is playing for you? Can't hear the audio. Okay, sorry about that. It is embedded in the power.
I can include the link when we send out the recording. So
okay, that's fine. It's a link from YouTube that we used, and one of the things I was going to share about this, A Chair for My Mother is a Reading Rainbow book, and so you will find a lot of information on it. There are many videos of people reading these books, and then also audio clips, and so you can go ahead and find some of those. So it's just a different way to engage people with the book rather than having the actual book in hand and reading it. You might watch a video of it. In this example, A Chair for My Mother, the basic story here that we would have shared through the audio clip is that the mother works in a diner, and she is working very hard, and the daughter helps along the way. And so one day they came home and found that their home was on fire. And everyone was okay, but they did have to kind of start over. And people brought things to share with them to help them reestablish a home. And as the mother worked very hard, the one thing that she did not have was a chair, a comfortable chair that she could sit and relax in after work. And so the goal here was looking at saving to buy a comfortable chair for the mother. And the concepts identified then are recognizing resources, sharing goals, sharing, goal setting, recognizing success when they actually did save towards getting that chair, and then they went and purchased the chair, and helping children to see that, in fact, you can set a goal, save toward that, and really reach that goal. So in this case with the Money on the Bookshelf curriculum, what you would see is an activity where the children could be making a money jar and set a goal and save toward that goal. So you can see that there's an activity that relates to the story and the concepts provided. Okay, so here's the information that you need in order to get the curriculum. And you see all of the links there. I'm sure that the PowerPoint will be provided to you as well in the recording, and all of that information. The only one that is not does not have an internet link provided is Right on the Money, and I checked the number this morning to make sure that that was still the correct number, and in fact it is. So, oh, and I should tell you too that the one thing that I checked on with Right on the Money, aside from the phone number, is now that that curriculum is free. There is a download for it. I believe a download for it, but you can call and check out Right on the Money, or yeah, Right on the Money, and call and ask about it, and you should be able to get it free of charge for at least one copy. Now, just to note that you might be thinking that you don't have a venue to provide a full program, but each of the curricula that we've looked at here works very well in a one-time event. I've used them for things such as America Saves Week, Money Smart Week, or during Financial Capability Month. And I found some success teaming with a children's librarian who provides a story hour program and then an activity along with some take-home activities for the parents. So they are very workable with one-time situations if you choose to do that. Some additional publications that we have for you. We talked about Sharon Danis's developmental stages for children and money, and that publication, Teaching Children Money Habits for Life, is available. Another one that we always receive questions about are allowances, and so Allowances and Alternatives is another one of her publications. and also the University of Minnesota Extension Youth and Money webpage. And we mentioned the book list that we're providing you, but there are also some things such as songs that have money topics, maybe for older, a little bit older children, that you might be interested in using when you teach financial topics as well. So right now we'd like you to take a moment and reflect on the benefits of these resources. And we'll have one final chat for you. And so as you are thinking about the benefits of those resources, I'd like you to think about how you might use those materials that you've seen today. And if you could share that information in the chat, we'd appreciate that. We can take a look at some of those. So how do you think you might use the materials? During workshops and special awareness weeks during the year? I see for children at a shelter, Head Start socializations, parent training. These are all looking great. Group workshops for parents. Yeah, it's really great for parents to think that they actually do have the capacity to teach their children some things. And let's face it, children's books are something that we read every day anyway. And so as a result, if we can make them educational and influence our children's future, it's really an asset. I'm seeing lots of good comments here. Reading in a kid's class. Wonderful. Well, so now we've shown you some curriculum to use with children and families related to personal finance topics. These are active, and they're methods that make the message stick. So as we close, we'll have one more opportunity to ask questions coming up, so be thinking about any additional questions that you have. There's our contact information.
And Lori and Shawna, I have that on my final slide too, and
okay,
we'll take the questions and keep as we do the Q&A, we'll have that final slide. So if you want to go ahead and hand it over to me. Oops.
Oh, I see. Okay, there you are.
Yeah, but okay. Okay, hold on. Okay, so thank you both so much. I just can't thank you enough. I just think that material is so valuable, and I'm sure the audience feels that way too. So to make sure we have a few minutes for Q&A, let me just remind everyone, especially those of you who are new to financial social work, that we offer a certification that is self-study and self-paced. Our students have 6 months to complete it and take the online exam. They have 2 weeks to complete the exam. You can work on it, leave it, and come back to it. Those are the covers on the 5 digital workbooks that the certification includes. Financial social work has been taught at the University of Kentucky since 2011, and we are in the Encyclopedia of Social Work, and we're very proud of all of those accomplishments, and especially excited about today's wonderful presentation to be able to bring it to you. And all of you will receive a recording, the recording of this session in your inbox by the beginning of next week, probably by the end of this week. If you look at that rectangular box in the right-hand corner, you should see a heading for handouts. And Lori and Shawna were so kind to put together this amazing book list explaining the different concepts in every book. And so you can click on that and download it. So here we are at the end of the webinar, and I am going to see what questions you have. So you probably saw that someone wants to start a program in the shelter. How wonderful. Workshops for parents. Someone wrote, this is an excellent certification program. I am a financial educator for a credit union. I use the information I learned from the certification program. I highly recommend it. Thank you so much. Here's a bunch of people saying thank you to our presenters. Somebody wants to know any financial assessment inventories you recommend to measure financial literacy in children and adults.
Oh, there is a personal finance scale that, oh gosh, I'm trying to think. Is it, I believe through Virginia Tech. I'm not positive on that, but I believe that's where I've seen it. And we use one with our financial educator certificate program, and I believe that's where it's from. I have not seen for youth, but definitely for adults, yes.
Do you have any specific recommendations for military families and children?
Shawna, I don't know if you know of any. The only thing I can think of, we do have a military family learning network, and we have several educators that are involved in that. I think you could probably Google Military Family Learning Network, and I know that they do some webinars and have Twitter chats and things like that for families, so they may have more specific information.
Oh, that's great. Thanks. Do you know of any resources for older children? Everything you talked about is great, but it is really for younger children.
Which age range?
They didn't specify. If you're still on the line, if you would give us an idea.
15 to 21. They said 15 to 21. Teenagers.
Yeah, I mean, there's the NEFI curriculum. Maybe, Lori, if you want to talk about that, that's more for high school students. And
yeah, I mean, that's a high school curriculum that anybody can use. You don't have to be a teacher to be able to utilize the information. You can go to the high school, it's hsfpp.org, and there's information there on getting, they're nice little workbooks that are individual books depending on the topic that you're interested in. But I would say, too, that I've had a lot of high school teachers that have used these children's books in a number of ways. I've had teachers that teach child development that will have their students go into an elementary classroom and read the books.
Wow.
And so it's kind of like using, the idea that the parents will gain some of the information by teaching their children. It's the same thing with the teens. And I've also had teachers say that teens enjoy being read to as well. So it's just kind of a fun thing for them to do it, to think back to their younger years.
yeah, and I would also add that, here in Minnesota, we have a credit union network, and there's a lot of resources within. I know some of you were mentioning that you're working in credit unions, and they may have some resources for you within your state for teens and financial literacy. Just a thought.
Yeah, sometimes they have some comic book types of resources that would be attractive to especially younger teens.
You have a great program, thank you, from one of our attendees, and he wants to know if you have any experience with low-income parents reading to children. Do low-income parents embrace reading this topic to children or shy away from financial reading and teaching?
I think that's where I've seen parents going to story hours at the library and things like that, so maybe they themselves aren't reading to their children. but the children are still having an opportunity to experience some of those. Yeah, I don't know specifically as far as them reading, but another activity that can always be done as children are gaining reading skills is to have them read to the adult. And so that's another way to deal with some of those issues.
Someone shared that the FDIC has some great materials for seniors and young adults with disabilities that are great workbooks. It's called Money Smart, and it's free. Okay, so the person who had asked about older children, that was 15 to 21. I work with high school students, summer program to teach youth financial education. If you have more materials for high school and post-high school. My experience would be similar to you, Lori and Shawna. Whoa. I just saw a question I have to ask you before we finish. That when someone, especially parents and teachers too, don't feel confident or competent to teach the materials, they, as Rod asked, they will shy away from it. And we do a disservice because we don't mandate this in this country. There's no real, no requirements to speak of as far as teaching this to children. So we're raising future generations of children that are still not money-wise. So I think that anything we can do and every opportunity we take to expose adults and children to financial literacy and capability will make a difference. Somebody wants to know about taking away a child's allowance.
I would say that the allowances and alternatives publication would be useful. Typically, looking at allowances, there are some things that we all have to do. If an allowance is given, there are things that we all do. They're not necessarily part of that allowance, but there may be some other items that are included as maybe a little extra money or things like that. There's also something discussed there called the dole system, where parents will dole out money as children ask. So I think, taking a look at what is expected, and if they're not doing the things that perhaps everyone is expected to do in a family, then perhaps you might be looking at the taking away maybe for a limited time, but an understanding of everybody has to participate.
Yeah, and I would just add too that the singular action of taking it away, just make sure that you're replacing it with something or providing something else, some other type of framework that can promote participation in the family. I think just taking it away carte blanche could have some negative ramifications for both the parent and the children.
Okay, I'll just read some wonderful comments that our wonderful audience has shared with us. Someone plans to have the older children at the shelter assist in teaching the younger children about money. How wonderful. Yes, a definite win-win situation. Great, great, great. Someone did say, good point, Rita, we live in a financially illiterate culture. That makes me so sad, but it is so true. Someone shared that the Vermont State Treasurer's website has how to raise a money smart child, and that can be downloaded, the Vermont State Treasurer's website. Someone else shared Practical Money Skills for Life by Visa.
Yes.
Okay, they say that's a good financial tool for parents and children of all ages with great games too. And
Financial football is on there, and if you like to do active learning with children, financial football would be a thing to do.
Oh, great. And one of our graduates and someone that I know is very dedicated to this work in Texas has shared with us that A-plus Credit Union has branches in the high schools in Pflugerville, ISD, Travis County, Texas. And I will be in touch to learn more about that. This is so amazing. They hire students, allow the kids to open accounts, and teach money management. Last year, I actually found a school in Nevada, an elementary school, that the bank didn't do those things, but the kids could bring in money and have a passbook and watch their money grow. Once a week, they could make deposits. These are just the most wonderful ways to learn, so experiential. I just can never thank Lori and Shawna. I can't thank you enough. Oh, wait, someone shared this, and I think there's some real validity to it. Taking away the kids' allowance is not teaching them anything.
Right.
Instead of taking it away, why doesn't the parents make them for that month put that allowance towards saving it instead of using the money they are saving to buy what they initially were saving for? Well, that's a great suggestion. Somebody put Money Talks for Teens by UCR Extension. Wow, that name is Jennifer Rodriguez. I wonder if that's a Jennifer Rodriguez I once knew. I really enjoyed this webinar. I'm a community worker and a parent of young adults, and I can use all the contents across the board. Thank you. I told you everyone was going to love this. Also, thank you for connecting money to the beauty of giving and sharing. And here's the last one. Piedmont Credit Union in Danville, Virginia, also just started a money club at the Halifax County High School. There are plans to make it a student-run branch next fall. Oh, I might get back to you too, Dan. High schools in Virginia have also started requiring financial education. We've had the pleasure of being invited to speak due to our connections with teachers. The credit union was a teachers' credit union way back. Well, thank you. I told you we have a great community, don't we? So I think we all got a lot out of this. I know I did. Thank you, Lori.
Well, thank you.
And
Thank you so much.
Oh, just thank you.
Thank
There's
you
nothing
so
else I
much,
can
Jen
say.
and Lori.
And thank all of you for joining us. And we have a special treat next month. So if anyone still on this call has ever dreamed of starting his or her own business and wants to know all of the advantages from doing so, you're going to want to watch for this webinar at the end of July. Thanks, everybody, and hope to see you back here next month. Thanks, Lori and Shawna.
Thank you.
Bye
Thank
now.
you.
Bye.
Bye.